Hello artists, welcome back. This is the fifth video in the series, the 12 steps to exhibiting your work in galleries as a beginner artist. I am Antonio Alanis, and in this series, I am sharing information, tips that have helped me exhibit in over a dozen exhibitions in the past 8 to 10 years. And this is really my time to share information of what has helped me and what has worked for me, with hope that beginner artists out there who are thinking about exhibiting and thinking about what things they can do to increase their chances of exhibiting in galleries and how that can help them. So, if you're new here, welcome. And the last video, we talked a lot about how to develop a body of work. I will be sharing that link in the description. But today we're going to talk a lot about how to start cataloging, documenting, or essentially creating from that portfolio or body of work that we did in the past into something that we can show the world in a way that it is produced, in a way that it is ready for people to see. If you're new here, this is really for new beginning artists, people who have very little experience or people who have had experience exhibiting. Even if you have had exhibitions in the past, if you're looking to refresh and think about ways that you can continue to exhibit your work, you're here and I welcome you as well. The main idea of this video is talk a lot about what things you need to consider when cataloging or documenting your art when submitting to galleries as a beginner artist. And first, as I've been doing in the past few videos, is I like to start with a definition of what is to catalog. Essentially, a catalog, or a way of me thinking that has helped me make sense, is organizing your work in a way that is systematic, in a way that people know that this is the work that you are submitting. So essentially, a catalog or a portfolio is a way of organizing the pieces that you like to submit when you are creating or participating in an art call, whether it's anything from submitting to a gallery exhibition, when you are submitting to a commission, or someone wants to hire you to create a body of work for them, or whether there's an illustration. Essentially, what is the sample of what you can produce? And in this video, we're going to talk a lot about how to begin to catalog your work and what things you can start doing now. What is the importance of cataloging? You may be wondering. Essentially, it's a way for people to know that that is what you're submitting. And it is a curated selection of some of your work. What I've done and other artists have done as well is we've submitted, and I have submitted, my best pieces. And best pieces can be and mean so many things, but essentially, what is the piece that I like for them to look at and see whether I'm able to produce the work that I'm looking to create for them or to exhibit for them. Essentially, it is your first impression that the gallery will have when looking at what you are doing. It's a way for people to see something concretely and say, okay, this is this person's work. There are many ways of doing portfolios. I have experience mainly with two. A website as a portfolio. A website for me has been a portfolio, and the portfolio is essentially all the things that I've said before. It's all the pieces that I've created and all the pieces that I really enjoyed and I want people to know this is what I'm doing. It is a way for people to know that I'm able to produce that kind of work. That would be the first one, a website. Now, the second one would be more of a tailored digital PDF or digital document that I send when I send to different organizations. I realize that this video is only about creating for galleries, but for other organizations and other calls that I've been able to participate in, including grants, I've been able to send pieces that relate most to the work that I'm trying to do with them. So this is where I tailor more in terms of the things that I want them to see that really relates to the project. For example, to a project that was about creating a podcast, I submitted the illustrations that mostly resembled to the illustrations that I wanted to create for that project. And I submitted to them so they could see that it was something that I was able to, one, do, and two, so they could visualize what I was trying to do for them. That would be my thing. That PDF and document that I sent, it was a mini portfolio. It was more of a sample, but my main portfolio is my website. People have used portfolios and many other websites. People have used Instagram as a portfolio. People have used other things like Behance. I don't know how to pronounce that, y'all. Stuff like that. And I think that there is no right or wrong answer. Wherever you want people to know, that's something that you can create. So I think that with defining it and also what is a professional portfolio or what is a portfolio or a catalog. Now let's get a little technical and talk more about what it is or how to create a portfolio. And this really goes back to point number 3 on how to document your work. When we have galleries or the gallery submissions that I've participated in, they have asked me to submit pieces that are aligned with the things that I wanted to do for them. Some of the pointers that have helped me, and I tell you this from experience and also by participating in other behind the scenes selection committee experiences that I've had where people have written applications or grants and things, and I'm able to look at some of that work. I'll share a little bit of information around that. I'll say that some of the biggest mistakes that I've seen when documenting their work, and even my work, I'm not going to say that I wasn't doing this in the beginning, but start to document your work in a way that it is clear of errors and is as close to high quality as you can. I will only speak to digital portfolios or digital ways of documenting your work. I have no experience with physical cataloging or physical portfolio. But when you are submitting to galleries, submit high quality images as much as you can. And I'm not saying buying the latest camera, but there are ways of documenting and taking pictures of your work that can talk about your ability to produce this. Because one of the things that I've found out is that I don't want the viewer to be distracted. If there are shadows in the pictures that I've sent them because the lighting wasn't there, or maybe the white balance was off, instead of being clear and there's like a green tint because of a green light bulb that I have, I think that would be distracting and it might give a false impression of the work that you're submitting if that piece is not green. Be very mindful about how to document with high quality pictures. I think that as an artist myself, I had to learn more about photography when submitting things to some of these exhibitions. I think that these are things that have come up with the things that they have asked me to do, and being able to adapt and grow. Think about what works for you. Look at other people's catalogs or other people's ways of how they share the work, what kind of portfolios they have. Apart from shadows, try to take pictures as flat as possible with a clean background or maybe in a clear wall that the perspectives are clear and crisp. I've seen pictures of people submitting a screenshot when they're submitting a portfolio or a sample of their work to the galleries. I've seen people submit pictures of them taking a picture with a piece of painting or the visual on top of their hand and they can see a finger sticking out. It's really about making sure that we submit the highest quality of pictures that we can without those things. I think it would be a lot of time to talk about all the errors, but those are the top 3 things that I've seen. Try to be mindful, try to be aware about the things that they will ask you. With the technical information, typically when they ask you to submit a portfolio or a sample of work, they will talk about titles. What are the titles? Make sure that you submit the pieces and what they want to learn more about, including a description. So usually, apart from the title, they will ask you for a brief description of what the piece is about and what it means or stands. Now, I'm a figurative artist, someone who likes to talk about figures or people and depict people. I don't know how this works in other fields of art, like abstract art. I'll be curious to know. But for me, that focuses more on stories of people. I think it's important for me to talk about what is it that my art conveys. So let's go back to the artist statement and also the artist statement and artist bio. What is it that your art is trying to communicate? So that'll be the second thing. Now, medium, you will have to talk about what is it that the medium is about. So the medium, is it acrylics? Is it mixed media? Is it ceramics? Is it oil painting? Is it digital illustration? What kind of work is it? And to finalize is to have a year of creation. When was it created? Was it 2020, 2015, 2024, 2030? When was it created? And I think that would be a great way for people to have that. Now, when you document your work, one of the things that I find it annoying, I don't know if you find this annoying, is that galleries will be very strict in terms of how much they want the images to be, how large they want them to be, or how heavy, or how large, right? They usually would say 1,000 K each, or maybe less than 1,000 KB, and the largest part of the photo or the painting cannot be 900 pixels or more. It has to be 900 pixels or less. It gets to be frustrating because then I have to download pictures from my camera and then upload to somewhere else, make sure that I remove the extra weight by reducing the file size and do a little bit of cropping and that kind of thing. Be aware about these things. I have personally never rejected anyone who has submitted pieces or paintings to a gallery when I've been in a selection committee because of something like that their biggest picture was more than 100 pixels. I've never done that. I think to me is really more about how does the artist convey what they're trying to convey. But again, I don't want to get too deep in here in terms of that. That would be documenting your work and how you want other people to know that this is what you're doing. Point number 4 is to organize your portfolio. You can do this in various ways. You can do this by organizing your portfolio or your catalog by themes. What are the themes that you want to talk about? Is it, for example, me, if you go online, you will see in my website, as of 2024, I have pictures of illustrations that talk about voting. So get out the vote. In November, people have hired me to do posters for some of the events. And that's another theme that you can also have. The third theme is health-related, health campaign work. When COVID started, and this is a story that I probably have said so many times, I was really interested in doing art that informed us about what we needed to do, or what experts, rather, recommended us doing. I think that's important to really maintain that autonomy. But back then, I didn't understand that, right, as much, but now I do. So what I'm trying to say is that with this information, I have another theme of social cause / a health pieces that I have on my website. Other pieces that I have are projects that I've participated in. So these projects could be anything from other podcasts that I've helped or participated in, or other projects that I have produced as well. So you can do by theme and you can do by medium. Online, my website is divided into several kinds of mediums. The main ones as of 2024, they are photography, they are digital illustration, and the third one, they are paintings. So each of those categories or mediums have a different tab within my website where people can see what kinds of things I'm able to produce. Other things that I have seen and have done when documenting my work is you can also do it chronologically. You can do it from the very beginning to the very end, from early work to late work, and that has helped me as well see how my work and my skills have grown over time. I think the biggest thing with portfolio is to include your strongest work. What is it that you want people to know that you can have a representation of your best work out there? It's not really hard to create a digital portfolio. This brings us to point number 5. You can do this in so many ways. You can use a website. If you're interested, you can go on to my website at antonioalanisart.com, and you can see how I have assembled my portfolio for people to look at. Other people have used their Instagram. Other people have used, and I have used, a PDF document that really relates to the type of work that I'm trying to submit or the art call. I want to talk more about the labeling and describing your artwork. The labeling and describing your artwork is super important. They will ask you this information because they will be more than likely print labels on their printers so they can have on the wall beside your painting. So when it's time for you to exhibit your pieces physically, they'll have an accompanying text that they can have, and people who go to the galleries can read and understand more about your work. It's important to take your time to create something that you want people to read. I talked about this before. If you want people to go to a certain place or a different website or a different online digital location, consider putting a QR code in the description if, of course, you're allowed and invited to do that. But I wouldn't do it right now when you're applying to the galleries, only after you get an acceptance. Describe your work honestly, which is another thing too. I think that as an artist, there are so many skills that I've been able to further develop. That has been creating pieces not only physically and visually and artistically, but I've been able to develop my writing more, and I really have embraced it. I really have loved talking about my work in a way that is written. If you're not a writer, it's okay. Reach out to other people who may be writers and can help you probably think about your piece. No one else knows your work as you do. And I think that writing brings a lot of clarity. It brings a lot of time for us to think about what is it that we want to share with this world. So take your time. Just be yourself whenever you're writing. Okay, let's talk about number 7. This is staying organized. Now, I don't do this all the time. It's something that I'm working on, and it's something that I am cognizant. It's something that I want to be more aware of, is to staying organized. Apart from having a portfolio, which are your favorite pieces and maybe your strongest pieces, I also recommend having a separate spreadsheet or a different database where you have all the works that you have ever produced. One of the things that I have always thought about is every time I make something new, I can always put a picture of it, a title, dimensions, and a small description of what it is, so that later I may remember what I named that piece. Now, in an ideal world, I would have that information ready. I would remember what I titled that piece, but I forget. Maybe a piece that I made 10 years ago, I don't remember what it is called. Having a way that I can go back and look at the things that I've been able to create has helped. And every time I make a new picture or take a new picture and make some of the edits and renders, I tried my best to put that picture in this database. It's a way for staying organized. One thing that I have loved doing as an artist is to stay organized and do things in a way that I can not only be clear about, but also retrieve whenever I need, because it's nothing more frustrating than not knowing what I called a piece a few years ago and I forget. So that brings us to point number 7. And then point number 8 is regularly updating your portfolios. One of the things that I've done every year, at least twice a year, is more like once a year. Every year around fall or winter, when everything starts to slow down, I like to take a few moments here and there to go back on my website and remove pieces that not that I don't like, but I don't want to show people at that time. Maybe I grew in a specific skill set, and maybe I find another piece that really shows my ability now than the other piece. So what I do is remove that other piece and continue to do this in a way that I begin to clean and also upload new pictures or paintings or pictures that I want other people to show. So make it regularly update your portfolio regularly as much as you can. And also, whenever there's a new submission, if you like, you can also create a new portfolio or a tailored piece or a tailored PDF for adapting your submission to a gallery. So I think that's the best thing I can tell you. Now, I want to show you some real life examples, and you're invited to look on my website. My website is AntonioAlanisArt.com, and there you can see my portfolio with all the things that I've said. As of 2024, you can go there and see about 5 or 6 tabs that I have. I have an illustration tab with all the things that I've been able to create. So every time there's like a new piece that I really like and want people to know, I upload a digital illustration there. So it's easy as a digital illustrator to upload things, upload PDFs or PNGs. Now, I started doing paintings when I was doing art in the beginning of my career, but now my shift is not on paintings as much, although I do miss grabbing a brush, getting my fingers, in the paint and filling the canvas on my hand. So I don't have as many paintings right now as I wish I did. But if you have some paintings that you want people to know, definitely put them there. Now, my portfolio it's a combination of different things. The portfolio also has my art statement and bio. So that's where I talk about my art, what is my art about, and also my biography as an artist, as well as my headshot. So my headshot is essentially my picture. And the next video, we'll talk a lot about what is a headshot and how to prepare for a headshot for submitting to a gallery. So also stay tuned for that. Now, the next tab on my website or portfolio is I have a CV. So the CV, it's really, again, you can look at my CV here to have an example of what has worked for me. And I usually have all the things that I have produced or participated. I have a lot of group exhibitions that I participated in the past. And I put them here so that other artists and other people will know that this is what I'm doing. Now, one thing or best practice for me, and I realize now that it is 2024, the last time I updated this was in December 6, 2022. So again, I was referring back to when everything starts to slow down. In December is usually when I upload my resume. So now what I need to do in 2024 and around December is upload a new CV so that I can have something that is up to date. So right now it's about a year late, but that's okay. There are so many things and projects happening, so also take your time. Now, going back to the portfolio, I also, this year, 2024, I uploaded some pictures from my trip to Oaxaca, Mexico in 2022, pictures that I really loved. And this is where I want people to see the things that I'm able to produce. I'm not branding myself as much of a photographer or as a photographer as much as a digital artist. I love the photography, and it's something that I maybe like to do later and definitely want to do later. I have so many ideas, but right now I just want to focus more on the digital illustration, and later we can work more on the photography. But here you can see some of the examples that I have. I do have pictures from Mexico. I have 6 pictures. And then as of 2024, the pictures of the photography section has other pieces of photographs that I've done in the past for other projects. People have hired me to do headshots for them, for exhibitions, or for their professional branding. And this is another example. I could potentially do photography for headshots and people, but it's something that I'm not really doing right now. I do it for myself and when people ask me. I don't want to go far away from how to make or how to create a portfolio or document. And then I have other things too here on this website. I have a blog where I essentially document all the things that I'm doing on not only my website, but also my social media. And then I have a consulting tab and a contact, not contract. Although I do work with contracts. The contact tab essentially is where people can reach out to me. They have a question. I leave my email so it can be easily accessed without them looking to find it anywhere. I want it to be easy for them to look at and find it. This is really how to and how I have created a portfolio that has helped me. Now, if you're interested more in a more up-to-date, more real-time portfolio, you can go onto my Instagram. My handle is at symbol Antonio Alanis Art, and you can see a lot of the things that I'm up to right now and previously as well. All the videos that I talked about, including the CV and the developing a body of work and those things, you can definitely go back in this series and watch them as well. So they are ready for you. I'd like to invite you all to finalize today's video. I'd like to invite you all to my website. It is antoniolanisart.com, where you can look at a new product that I just developed. It is a PDF called The 12 Steps to Exhibiting Your Work in Galleries as a Beginner Artist, and it is a way for us to have a checklist of things when we want to exhibit. So if you're an artist looking to exhibit, you can have a checklist for you to know. I really wanted to show this so that people know that I am sponsoring my own video. Antonio Alanis Art is sponsoring this video. So this is where I'm also sharing the things that I'm sponsoring and the things that I am using to keep the work going. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure talking a lot about the catalog. I realized that we talked a lot, or I talked a lot, and I think it's a good introduction to how to continue to document your work as an artist. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.